What's up, everyone? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another MLB recap. We had an amazing slate of games on Mother's Day. The Dodgers are going for a 3-game sweep of the Padres. The Rays and the Yankees was one of the most epic series of the entire year. Bryce Harper, he faced off against the entire state of Colorado. So today's recap, it's going to be fun. Remember, everyone, if you're going to any baseball games, concerts, anything like that anytime soon, save yourself 20 bucks off on SeatGeek using code Fuzzy. And also, I was busy over the weekend getting one-of-one Grady Sizemore for the 3rd consecutive year. If you guys want to see that debut, I'm still posting MLB The Show just on my second channel, Fuzzy Gaming. Now, before we talk about the games from yesterday, I do want to give some love to Zack Greinke because he made some MLB history yesterday. Okay, he was helped out by the umpire. I don't know if the umpire had a fix on this bet or something, but Zack Greinke became the 5th pitcher in Major League Baseball history to strike out 1,000 different hitters. He's only the 5th guy to ever do that. So before we talk about the rest of that game, I wanted to highlight some history. Without further ado, let's get into the games from yesterday and let's talk about the walk-off W's from yesterday. The pitching was really good on both sides in this Giants and Diamondbacks game. Rookie Brandon Pfaadt, he gave up a home run. It was the only hit he allowed all day. He had 5 strikeouts, 1 hit, his best start by far. I think he's had 3 or 4 starts. That was easily his best. Logan Webb, he kept up for the Giants. He eventually allowed Arizona to tie it on a Josh Rojas double, but tip of the cap regardless. Webb had 1 earned run over 7. He has a nasty 2.5 ERA over his last 5 starts. Just Arizona staff, they were a bit better. They got to the 9th inning with the tie still intact. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. has been incredible offensively over his last 157 games dating back to 2022. He's hitting .295 with 55 extra base hits. The Diamondbacks have won 3 games in a row. The Braves and the Blue Jays were trading runs like they were Pokemon cards at a 2008 middle school recess. Ronald, I just want to mention he has 8 home runs, 17 stolen bases while hitting a stupid 346 on the season. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. of Toronto, he gave the Blue Jays a lead in the 2nd. He's hitting .315 with 24 RBIs, which is 5 less than Ozzie Albies, a second baseman who out of nowhere now has 10 home runs, 29 RBIs, and an almost 120 OPS plus. It's because he doesn't get on base as often via the walk. Kevin Pillar, he hit one as well, but so did George Springer. No scoring happened after the 4th inning. Just kidding, I lied. Danny Jansen, he came in with 2 on and he brought them both home. That is a walk-off for him. Raisel Iglesias, AJ Minter, and the Braves closing pitchers have been terrible this year. Their 8 blown saves are tied for 3rd most in Major League Baseball. Atlanta has lost 4 games in a row. All right, now it's time to go over some series that took multiple years off multiple fan bases' lives. The Rays and the Yankees, as well as the Angels and the Guardians. First up, let's talk about the Rays and the Yankees. This series was everything I wanted it to be and more. Just an absolute bloodbath of scoring and tense emotions. Tampa Bay, they jumped out early, but that just meant the Yankees can mount another comeback. Oswaldo, Rizzo, they both pummeled 2-run home runs off of Zach Eflin. The Yankees were looking really good until the walls fell. Get it? Because Taylor Walls I'm sorry. But yeah, that Taylor Walls grand slam was just enough to survive another comeback from the New York Yankees. By the way, Volpe now has 6 home runs, 13 stolen bases. Jason Adam for sure thought he gave up the lead. He thought that was a nuke to Aaron Judge, but he closed it for his 5th save of the year. The series is now tied 2-2 for the season, and I don't think these teams like each other very much because Clark Schmidt, he bulldozed the Rays 3rd base coach, then walked away like nothing happened. Like the dude's walking around like he doesn't have a near 7 ERA on the season. I don't know. I just found that odd that he didn't offer an apology or anything like that. He's walking around like he's prime Pedro. I don't get it. Guardians and the Angels, Mission Viejo High School teammates Tanner Bybee and Patrick Sandoval, they were facing off yesterday. They both refused to let any real damage get done over the first, let's just say, 7 innings. Bybee struck out 7 over 7 2/3, his longest professional start ever. Sandoval, he got into some trouble in the 8th, allowing a few base runners to get on as the closing pitcher Estevez, he tried to put out the fire, but Josh Naylor put this ball out of the ballpark. The 8th wonder of the world. I mean, that's a terrible pun for me to say. He is amazing in the 8th inning. He had a 3-run home run, his 3rd 8th inning home run of the series, and even though Emmanuel Clase tried his best to sell yet again, he has 14 saves, and the Guardians steal a win. I don't know how they did it, but they won the series. Now, remember how I said Josh Naylor had 3 8th inning home runs? The second one cost a man his job. Ryan Tepera, he signed a fairly hefty $14 million contract in 2022. The Angels are just going to eat that. They have DFA'd him. He had a 2.79 ERA in 2021, and he had a 4.09 ERA as a member of the Angels. A terrible contract. From one AL Central team to another, the Guardians going to the Twins. Now, real quick, we do got to show Joey Gallo's home run from the game before because, my God, I don't know how far that baseball went. I think it broke StatCast because I don't think we still know how far it went. I wanted to highlight that because a few moments after Trevor Larnach launched a 3-run home run Joey did it again. My friend now has a home run in back-to-back games, both moonshots. He has 9 home runs and an almost 150 OPS plus. Louis Varland, he was pretty good. 7 more strikeouts. Now, he is prone to walking guys and giving up the long ball, but he is super nasty. If he can get it figured out, this Twins team is just not fair on paper. 7 different Twins hitters had multi-RBI days. They put up a fat 16 spot on the Cubs' heads. Michael A. Taylor has 5 home runs, 6 stolen bases, and 2 outs above average in center field. The Pirates and the Cubs, they're nice stories, and they can be good when everything is clicking, but to me, both of those teams, the Pirates and the Cubs, are pretty middle-of-the-road squads. All right, coming up, let's talk about a few teams that have all won 3 or more games in a row. The Dodgers and the Padres. The Dodgers are going for that sweep. I mean, honestly, this game could be summed in maybe 13.2 seconds. Mookie, he was doing Mookie Betts things. That 2-run blast was his 9th already of the season. He blew a kiss to his mom. That's so sweet. Mother's Day, all that good stuff. All right, enough of the mushy stuff. Tony Gonsolin, he's got to be allergic to giving up runs or something, because there's another 5 scoreless. He has a 2.05 ERA over his last 150 innings pitched. He's not going to wow you with 13 strikeout performances, but the dude just knows how to pitch. Miguel Vargas, the rookie, he had a 2-run double. He has 21 RBIs on the season. The Dodgers win 4-0. They do, in fact, sweep the Padres, as San Diego has dropped 5 games in a row. They have the 4th worst OPS in all of baseball the last 2 weeks. The St. Louis Cardinals scored a bunch in this one, but it was kind of a slow burn. Bear with me. Paul Goldschmidt, his RBI single in the first kick-started it, and then Paul DeJong and Andrew Knizner, they belted prodigious home runs. 432 feet for Andrew Knizner. Miles Michaelis, he was good. Not nasty at all. He didn't strike out anyone, but he tossed 6 innings, only allowed 1 run. It worked, so I'm not going to talk any more smack. Arenado, he is starting to show signs of life. He laced a 2-run single in the 6th, and then a 400-foot 2-run home run in the 8th inning. He's hitting .409 with 3 home runs, 8 RBIs over his last 5 games. The Cardinals bullpen shredded up Boston. 1 hit, 7 strikeouts over the last 3 innings. The Cardinals are looking good. They've won 3 in a row. Here's a crazy sentence. Cody Bellinger is having a bounce-back season, and Christian Yelich is starting to heat up. They'll always be linked together, so anytime we talk about Cody Bellinger breaking out, I do want to talk about Christian Yelich hopefully breaking out. His 433-foot home run matched Salvi's solo shot in the top half of the first. We'll talk about him more later on. Well, actually, we'll talk about him right now. He started a big rally in the 3rd. That 7-run third was capped off with a bang. Rookie Bryce launched a 3-run home run, his 3rd of the season. Milwaukee is now 23-17 after a 9-6 victory. They're 1.5 games ahead of the Pirates for first place. Now, again, I do want to mention that Christian Yelich, he's hitting .304 with 4 home runs and 4 stolen bases over his last 2 weeks of baseball. So he's looking really good. And I guess before we move on, I do want to mention Bobby Witt Jr. had a big day. He only has a .271 on base percentage, which is not good at all, but he has 7 home runs, 12 stolen bases, and 5 outs above average. His defense has been way better this year, so I had to bring that up. So we just saw the Brewers win their 3rd game in a row. Hopefully the Pirates can grab a W against the really good Baltimore Orioles. Brian Hayes and G1 Base supplied pretty much all of the runs for starting pitcher Mitch Keller, and check out what this kid did. Mitch Keller racked up strikeout after strikeout. It's also important to note that he did not walk anyone in this performance. After 7 shutout innings, he found himself with 13 strikeouts, which is a new career high. He has a 1.36 ERA and 44 strikeouts over his last 33 innings pitched. This kid has always had the stuff. He throws a 99 to 100 mile per hour sinker, but the command has always been off. Here's a thing to note as well. 4 walks over his last 5 starts combined. Mitch Keller has arrived. The Nationals and the Mets, we kind of had a fake doubleheader because the game from the day before had to take place yesterday, so it was kind of weird. CJ Abrams and Alex Call won this game late for Washington. Again, it was a continuation of a game that was delayed the day previously. CJ has 3 home runs on the season, and Alex Call, his leather came up clutch in the 9th inning. He helped out Kyle Finnegan get his 8th save on the year. Again, this was a continuation of Saturday's game, so technically game 1. Now let's go to game 2. The Mets, they got some payback. Max Scherzer, he got angry after allowing an early run to CJ Abrams, and he locked in there afterwards. His offense finally broke out, and by that I mean the Mets scored 8 runs in a single inning in the 5th. Mark Canha and Brandon Nimmo, they grabbed the lead with Francisco Lindor and Brett Beatty extending it on some bases loaded walks. Yeah, the Nationals bullpen and pitching staff was horrific yesterday. Marte singled in 2 more, and he later came around to score on another RBI base hit from Mark Canha. Scherzer, he went out for the 5th inning. He shut it down. He struck out 6, and hopefully he can keep this momentum up. The Mets win 8-2 over the Nationals. The Mets are still just 20-21, which is very surprising. We'll talk about the Rockies against Bryce Harper. right after the Rangers and the A's game. Robbie Grossman, he connected on a 2-run home run in the first off of JP Sears. Texas got a 3rd run in the 3rd. That single from Adolis Garcia gives him 38 RBIs on the season. It's still best in all of Major League Baseball. Andrew Heaney, he was fantastic. He had 9 strikeouts on just 2 base hits. I don't care if it was against the A's. Doing that over 6 innings is not an easy feat against anyone. There's Shea Langoliers. His 7th home run ties it at 3-3. He has 13 home runs and an almost 110 OPS plus over his first 75 big league games. That's pretty good production for a catcher. Just all hope was lost though. The Rangers answered back with a ridiculous 8-run 8th inning, so they matched what the Mets did in the 5th against the Nationals. Heim drove in 1, Marcus Semien singled in 2 more right before Robbie Grossman grabbed his 3rd RBI, which led all of Texas hitters. Okay, that's a straight up lie. Adolis Garcia led the way with 5 RBIs after that grand slam. He has 42 RBIs in 39 games. That is insane. He's also taking more walks and striking out a lot less. Adolis Garcia is on his way to becoming a superstar. That's all I have to say. Before we talk about yesterday's Phillies versus Rockies game, I do want to show this home run from Bryce Harper. This was in the game previously. He went into the dugout and I guess Rockies fans were chirping. He looks at those fans and then calls them effing losers, and then that energy poured into this one. Real quick though, I do got to show Brenton Doyle his 2nd home run of the season, and Chris Bryant had an RBI single to give Kyle Freeland a 4-run lead. Freeland, he carved over 6 shutout innings with 8 punchies. He has a 3.16 ERA, which is nuts for any pitcher in Colorado. That's when Jake Bird of the Rockies came in for a clean 7th inning, and then all hell kind of broke loose after he started chirping at Bryce Harper and the Phillies. I don't know exactly what Bird said, but Harper, he didn't like it at all. Bird said, "Come at me," then took 3 steps back, so I don't know what he was saying "come at me" for. Bryce then looked at Chris Bryant, which I think is a good buddy of his team. He looked at them and said, "You're a loser effing organization." He says, "All of you." He says the Rockies are a loser organization. The Rockies do get the last laugh with a 4-0 W. But in my opinion, I think the fans took the biggest W because we got angry Bryce Harper again. I have not seen that in quite some time. I enjoyed it thoroughly. The Astros and the White Sox, Yordan Alvarez put the ball in play and he let the White Sox do the rest. He grabs 2 RBIs on that double, and then I think more scored because there was a bad error from TA7 Tim Anderson. Ender Diaz hit his first home run of the year for the Astros, which was immediately matched by Luis Robert Jr.'s solo shot. Luis is hitting .422 with 6 home runs since being benched. He leads all of baseball in on-base percentage, OPS, extra base hits, and total bases since being benched. Jake Burger cracked a 2-run home run of the 8th. He was just 1 out away from having a 6-inning, 1 earned run, 8 strikeout performance, but he ends up giving up 3. Still a good start nonetheless. Ryan Presley now has 7 saves on the year as the Astros beat the White Sox 4-3. Here we go, the Tigers and the Mariners. Javier Baez, who also got benched, he's been way better since that point as well. He got the Tigers within striking distance with an RBI single off of Logan Gilbert in the 3rd. And look who tied it up, the bad man. His 6th double of the year made it 3-3 as the Tigers are trying desperately to get back to a 500 record. They inched a little bit closer to that after stealing the lead on some horrific pitching by the Mariners bullpen. There's a bases loaded hit by pitch, and wow, there's a bases loaded walk. The Tigers pen, they were the polar opposite of the Mariners. They had 5 relief pitchers combined for 6 shutout innings. Alex Lang, he walked a few in the 9th inning, but he also struck out 2. He has 7 saves. The Mariners are 20-20, and the Tigers are 18-21. The Marlins and the Reds, starters Luke Weaver and Braxton Garrett combined for 14 strikeouts over 10 innings. They both allowed just 1 earned run each. Neither of them wanted to go home with an L, and lucky for them, they were both so good, they both got a no decision, so they're not going to get an L or a W. So this game was going to be won or lost by the bullpen, and yeah, it wasn't going to be Miami's bullpen taking the L. Garrett Cooper broke the tie as soon as Luke Weaver left the game, with Brian De La Cruz saying, "Me next." His RBI single made it 3-1, giving Dylan Floro a chance to close it out, and he does. So the Marlins beat the Reds 3-1, and the Reds, I think they said, screw it, we're sick of not scoring a lot of runs. They are calling up one of my favorite prospects in baseball, Matt McLain. I mean, just his name screams that he's going to be a future star. Matt McLain, he's hitting .347 with 12 home runs and 10 stolen bases in 38 AAA games. That is stupid talent. He is one of the fastest players in minor league baseball. He's got pop. Watch out, Matt McLain. He could be a sneaky Rookie of the Year candidate, even though he's only, I mean, he's never played before, but he's that good. He could put up some huge numbers. That does it for today's recap. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all the support as of late. Let's roll the web gems.
Pitch last year. Punch to the right side. Nice stop. Polanco to his left and throws him out.
Fly ball, left center on the run is Bader. Dives and makes the play.
On the ground, left side. Moncada slides to grab it and throw it.